Hello fellow wanderers and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ian, I'm known as WanderBeard around these parts, and in this video we're going to be exploring the south end of Baja, my final destination here in La Paz, the state capital of Baja California in Mexico. So La Paz is my 10th stop in my trip through Baja California. It's been an amazing experience. I've seen some amazing places. And yeah, it's been a trip of a lifetime so far, to be totally honest. And what better way to end it than here in the state capital? There's so much to see here in La Paz. And so in this video, we're going to be exploring the city of La Paz, checking out a baseball game while we're here, looking at some of the museums that are in the area, giving you a review of the homestay that I'm staying in, and some final thoughts on Baja California. I'll also be doing a video of my top 10 through Baja after I conclude this one, to give you a condensed version of my trip, some top tips, some things to think about, and some things to avoid if you're traveling through Baja California in Mexico. So, let's get going and see what La Paz is all about. So the first Europeans were known to have arrived here in Baja California in the area of La Paz in 1533 after the conquests in the south by the Spanish. So there's, several hundred years worth of history here, and it's a great place to come if you enjoy the beaches, if you enjoy the water, and you enjoy a pretty great climate all year round. So I'm going to be in La Paz for about a week, and while I'm here, looking to do some different things, get some work done as well. Again, as I've talked about in other places, one of the advantages of staying somewhere for a week is that I can both do some exploration as well as get some work done at the same time. So that's really great. So we're down here on the waterfront in La Paz, and you can see here we're on what's called the Malecon, which is basically the, waterfront boardwalk, if you want to think of it in that way. And yeah, it's literally right here. There's a beach here, and there's some ferry docks there. And it actually kind of is a bit of a bay of sorts. You can see out there, just on the edge, there's a bunch of apartment buildings and stuff on a spit of land that sticks out. Of course, like most places, there is a famous city sign here down on the waterfront as well, which you can come down and take a picture with if you should choose. Good afternoon. It is another lovely day here in La Paz. I've just been dropped off here at the Regional Museum for Baja California. So with La Paz being the capital of the state of Baja California, there's a couple of museums here I thought I wanted to check out. One being this one, and then there's also an art museum just a few blocks away. So I thought we'd go check those out today because they'll be indoors, air conditioned, and as always, it's really hot here again today. So let's go inside and take a look. So it was 75 pesos to get in, so that's like $5 maybe. So this museum is historical art. Lots of anthropological information here as well, kind of stuff about Baja and the history of the area. I will say at first that it does look like all the signs are in Spanish only, but I think that we should be able to get through most of it through interpretation and maybe some interpretive dance. Who knows? We'll see. So a quick pro tip. I just discovered that these signs, while they are in Spanish, do have QR codes here at the bottom. And when you scan those with your phone, it takes you to the English version of the information. So that's super handy. So we're starting off here with the first migrations of people to the area, which was believed to be sometime between 33,000 and 8,000 BC. So you can see an example here of like woolly mammoth, mastodons, types of examples of some of the things that were here. There's a map here of known places of migration. So it starts actually up in Alaska and works its way down. So that was, 11,500 years ago. And then it comes down the coast. So that would be down through California there. And then now we're into Baja, Mexico, getting down to the bottom area. And this is roughly where we are here in La Paz, 12,000 years ago. So you can see here's an example of, these dioramas are really cool. Some of the first peoples, this is saying about they traveled 6,000 kilometers in total to get down to this area from the initial migration across the land bridge between Alaska and Russia, what is now Russia. Another example of one of the dioramas here with some cave paintings up there at the top. And some of the old stone tools that have been found here. Arrowheads and those types of things. Around 1100 AD, for reasons that aren't quite clear, things changed in terms of burial habits in Baja California with the native groups that were here. And they started doing proper burial ceremonies, wrapping the bodies, using things like palm and cloth to bury the dead respectfully, versus prior to that would have been just in the ground. Example of some of the types of cave paintings that are found in the area. One of the more famous ones is actually not too far from Mulegé, where I spent a week. The San Borjita cave, which has some of the oldest cave paintings, which go back to about 7,500 years ago. So of course, by the 1600s, missionaries and the Spaniards began coming to the area. The Jesuit missionaries moved onto the Baja Peninsula. 1697, I believe, was the first one in Loreto. And so, of course, brought with that colonization, mining for minerals, and of course, war and diseases and things that come with that. Here's some shots of some of the missions in the area. Some of these we've already seen throughout my travels, so that's kind of neat to see. So an example of some of the artifacts from the time of the Spanish and the Jesuits. There's some European armor. And then in 1734, there was an indigenous rebellion against the Spanish and the continued development by missionaries and religion, which got quite violent and resulted in the deaths of some of the missionaries, many indigenous and some of the Spanish as well. Another really cool diorama here of the beginnings of building of one of the missions in the area. Some more examples here of the further development of, leading into the nation of Mexico itself in the mid-1800s. Baja, Mexico was sort of one of the first parts of the country of Mexico to develop, involved in the wars as well with the United States. There's some stuff here from the battles between the United States and Mexico in the 1850s. Example of a early to mid 18th century home. And then you get into the Revolutionary War in Mexico as well, which was in the early 1900s. So as we get into this section here, we start looking into some of the Baja reunification efforts that actually took place mostly here in La Paz as sort of the base of operations. There were manifestos written in order to unite the people in Baja. So finally, after many, many years, in 1974, the territory of Baja California South, or California Sur, was finally established. And the Trans-Peninsular Highway was also built around that time, I believe. The same one that we took to get down to here, that Route 1. And this is a replica of the original acts of independence for the Mexican state in 1821. So we've looped around here to where we started. So a very cool museum, lots of interesting facts and history here. Again, most of it is in Spanish, but they do have the QR codes to read the English versions as well. So I definitely recommend coming and checking it out. It was only, like I said, 75 pesos to get in and do the full walkthrough and check everything out. Very, very cool spot. So the museum was really cool, kind of neat how they laid it all out. They've got like 3 different layers to it, and so you start with the sort of prehistory on the bottom layer with some really cool dioramas and the history of before people, and then when the first peoples arrived. The second section kind of gets into the whole area around like when the Jesuits arrived, when the Spanish were here, sort of some of the battles that were involved with a lot of those different groups here at the same time. And then the third layer at the top, it talks more about the more recent history. So the war with the US, the independence wars, the various battles and things that happened here over the years as well. Really cool spot. Lots of artifacts and information and some really well done dioramas and sets and things like that too. So yeah, I would totally recommend if you're in La Paz and it's really hot outside and you want to get away from the heat for an hour or so, you can come check it out. Depending on how fast you go through it, like you can kind of go through it pretty quickly, half hour or so, or if you really want to take your time and scan all the QR codes and read all the information, it could be a couple hours really easily. So definitely recommend it. Big thumbs up. So that is the Regional Museum of Baja California here in La Paz. So from here, we're going to head down now to the Art Museum and go check that out. It's just a few blocks down the road from here. So I've arrived here at the Art Museum, which is just across from the park, and which is of course just across from the cathedral as well. And they asked me to not use a GoPro or flash, so I've just switched to my cell phone here. The Art Museum is no charge to get in. They just do a registration with you at the front desk there, where you're from, your name, that sort of thing. The majority of the art here is artists from Baja California Sur. La Casa del Musico, 2010. So there's this massive mural here on the wall. It looks like it runs 50 feet. And it's got tape around it and stuff on the floor. So I'm assuming it is still a work in progress. Maybe by a bunch of local kids, but very cool. So there's another huge mural here called The Color of Time, which is a representation of the history of Baja California here in Mexico, from prehistory to modern times. So one of the current exhibits here talks about how they wanted to explore the mixing of cave art with modern art, and some of the examples here are really, really cool. One of the things that's common here with the other museum as well is that the descriptions for each section of the gallery have a QR code to scan for English as well. So this is the La Paz Cathedral here in the city. It's right in the main square. This is not a mission. So for a change, we're not checking out a mission today, but it is a church. So this cathedral was built in the 19th century and actually sits on the grounds of the original mission that was here in the late 1700s, which was completely destroyed. And so by order of the church, they requested that this new cathedral be built on the original location. This cathedral also houses many of the artifacts from other missions throughout Baja that were, failed or abandoned or whatever. Many of those artifacts ended up here at this cathedral. I didn't want to disturb as there were some people actually inside using the church, and it felt a little inappropriate to wander on up to the front. So one of the best ways to save some money when you're traveling on a budget is, if you can manage it, is to buy some groceries. Now here in La Paz, I'm staying for 7 days, so it only makes sense to go out and get some groceries so that I can cook my breakfast and lunch and stuff at home, and then have enough for suppers. But if you want to go out and have some dinner, you've not wasted a bunch of money on extra food. So I thought what I would do is kind of show you a grocery haul that I picked up today. I actually went to Walmart, so don't give me a hard time. First Walmart I've seen in 5-6 weeks, I think, at least. Anyway, I just thought I'd go there, pick up some supplies for the week, some basics, and you don't have to eat a specific way. You can eat however you want. Walmart is a good example, or some of the other supermarkets around here all have everything. So I just went with, what I'm comfortable with eating, like for breakfast and for lunches and stuff. Not super fancy, so it's just kind of simple, but I thought I'd kind of give you a show, and then I'll break down the costs here at the end as well. So I got a loaf of bread for making sandwiches. I also got some cereal, just because I like sometimes in the mornings just to have some cereal, when I don't feel like making something and I want to have just something quick. To go with the cereal, of course, I got a liter of milk, which will also double for my coffee. There's a coffee maker here, so I can make myself some good coffee in the mornings. Orange juice as well for a drink. I'm also a big fan of eggs, so I picked up some eggs. So when you come to Mexico or some other places, you may find it weird that the eggs are not refrigerated. They're just kind of out. And that's because of the washing process that gets done in US and Canada. They wash all the eggs so that they need to be refrigerated at that point, I think is how the story goes. Picked up a small pack of coffee. I think it's a Walmart brand, but I didn't want anything too much because, again, being here for a week, it's really easy to buy like a pound of coffee and then suddenly you have a bunch of it left over. Coffee filters. I picked up one of these salad kits. They're not the best thing in the world, but I just figured it was an easy way to put some greens into my dinner. I got some tortillas for breakfast or whatever, and I got some refried beans, which I love and are great with any meal. Splurged a little bit and got some bacon. Bacon is not super common in Mexico, I found. So for lunches, I'm not huge on lunch. I don't really have big lunches very often. So I just picked up some sliced ham, sliced chicken breast, And then just a few cheese slices just to put a sandwich together. So to go with the sandwich stuff, there's a little bit of just mayonnaise and yellow mustard. Nice small bottles so you don't feel like, again, like you're wasting a bunch. So we got just some Herdez habanero salsa, which I really like. And then I also got this guacamole salsa, which I also really enjoy. And then the all-time best, Valentina hot sauce. What else is in here? Let's see. So I also got a few apples. Actually 4 apples good for snacks. I got an avocado, of course. Some bananas. Just got some vegetable oil just for cooking. So my favorite drink that I've discovered in Mexico is Topo Chico Twist, which is basically an extra carbonated mineral water, and this one has a flavor to it that I really like. It's like an orangey kind of citrusy flavor to it. So I got 3 of those. I get some ketchup. Make fun of me if you want in the comments. Going to Mexico and buying ketchup. The most expensive thing I bought actually is, ironically enough, peanut butter. So peanut butter is not a super common thing here. I really like it. I bought some extra Splenda. I already had a bunch in my bag, but I was getting low, so I figured I'll pick up some more and then I can take it with me. And then just a couple things for some snacks at the end here. Breakfast cereal bars. I usually like to have a couple of these in my backpack when I'm traveling, so that if I get stuck somewhere and there's no breakfast options available or no food, at least I have something to snack on. Green salsa tostitos I have discovered here are delicious. They're nice and spicy, but they're not like, you know, super hot. They're just a really nice, good, tasty flavor to them. So I got 2 of those. And a bag of ketchup chips, because I'm glad to see that Mexico has good taste in potato chips and has ketchup chips here as well. And lastly, the most important vegetable of the day, I just picked up 6 Modelo Especial beers at Walmart today as well. So there is an overview of the groceries that I bought. That should be enough for the week, certainly for breakfasts, lunches, and snacks. And then even a couple suppers if I don't feel like going out. You know, again, traveling on a budget, try and keep your costs low, and going out for every meal adds up very fast, even if you find some cheap places to go. So, what did that cost? I don't have a calculation to compare it to back home in Canada at the moment. I'd be curious to sit down and write it out, and I may actually do that, and I'll post it in the comments here. So this order, as you see here in front of you, came to an approximately 1,200 pesos in total. 1,200 pesos is about $60 US or $80 Canadian. So I thought that was a pretty good deal considering, you know, all the things you get. A lot of it is very westernized, I fully admit and accept that fact. Like that little jar of peanut butter, for example, 68 pesos on its own. And 68 pesos works out to about $4 US, about $6 Canadian. So, you know, things like that can really add up. Just a little bit of bacon, it's only like a 200 gram, which is what, like less than half a pound of bacon. And that was also around the same price as the peanut butter. So if you're gonna eat like you do at home, certain things will certainly add up for sure. So yeah, so I think that that's a good example of how you can pick up a bunch of groceries for the week with a few little extras in there as well, and you've got enough to cover yourself off for, you know, 5, 6, 7 days, however long you'll be staying in a place. So yeah, anyway, that's my grocery haul. Hope you liked it. Good morning from La Paz. I am here at the baseball stadium to check out the La Paz Dolphins semi-final game. They're playing the team from Miraflores today. All right, so this ticket for the game was 30 pesos to get in, which is about $2. Sit down over here. went. Two out though. It's been a great game. So if you come to La Paz, it's during baseball season, you know, for 30 pesos for the cost of the ticket, and then you can kind of just come in and hang out and watch a game in the shade, and beautiful view here, the ocean and everything off to the left. Great spot for baseball. This pitcher for Florence has been throwing really well all day. That's only the third hit they got off in the entire game. Bottom of the ninth. One on, nobody out. What a hit. Well, the home team lost, but that was a good way to kill a couple hours, or 3 hours or so, I guess. Great venue, great game, entertaining. And yeah, like I said, 30 pesos to get in. General seating, so you can sit wherever you like. I would definitely recommend coming out to a baseball game if you're in Mexico, you know, La Paz or elsewhere. But this was certainly an entertaining game, and that visiting pitcher pitched one heck of a game. So anyway, it is extremely hot outside after sitting in the shade there for a while. Yeah, kind of forgot how hot it is, so I'm gonna run out and pick up a couple groceries and head back to the room for now. So now that the sun has gone down, I thought maybe try something different tonight. There's a Japanese restaurant here called Hento, which is just a couple blocks away. And so I thought, go over there and let's give that a try tonight. Let's go. If you do come to La Paz, there are tons of restaurants down here along the waterfront on the Malecon. Like literally dozens. So there's lots of different choices, all your different types of food that you want. Beauty of a night here, like every night. So like 3 hours ago when the sun was out and it was about 40 degrees, there wouldn't have been a soul down here. And now it's packed. So I'm filming this, my last full day here in Baja California, Mexico. I started this trip when I walked across the border from San Diego to Tijuana over 5 weeks ago. And during that time, I traveled to 10 different spots across Baja. And it's been an incredible trip. And I really hope that people enjoy the series up to now. I'm also going to do a best of Baja once I get the last 3 episodes finished and published. So yeah, I am heading today on the ferry. I'm heading from La Paz over to Mazatlan on the mainland of Mexico, where I will continue my travels. I will be there for 3 nights in total, and looking forward to exploring Mazatlan, the Malecon there, some of the sites. Yeah, it looks like a beautiful city, lots to see and do there. From Mazatlan, I'll be heading to Guadalajara after that, where I'm planning on spending probably a week, I think. Guadalajara is the second largest city in Mexico, so there'll definitely be a lot to see there. Thoughts on Baja as a whole? I mean, it's difficult to compress, almost 2,000 kilometers of travel in total into a couple sentences. Baja is very different from north to south. You've got, some very heavily populated tourist areas in the north, in Tijuana, and also in the south, down in Cabo San Lucas, San Jose del Cabo, even here in La Paz. But then in between, you've got all these beautiful towns and places to see that a lot of people don't go and visit, and I can't recommend them enough. I said I wasn't going to rank any, but like Mulegé was beautiful and well worth your time. Santa Rosalia was well worth the time. Loreto was worth the time. I mean, it's, again, I can't rank them because every place that I went to I enjoyed for one reason or another. But yeah, I'll have some more thoughts on La Paz in general. I'll probably maybe do something when I'm on the ferry heading to the mainland. It's about a 14-hour trip on the ferry overnight. Anyway, that's all for now. Just some random thoughts that I thought I wanted to get on camera. Talk to you later. So I thought I'd give you a quick room tour here before I leave La Paz. I found this place on Homestay.com. Most of my bookings have been through Booking.com, but this place was a great deal, great location, and I couldn't pass it up. So I'll just kind of flip this around here and I'll keep talking. So when you come in, there's a full kitchen here, with a good-sized fridge and microwave, propane stove, and a sink. Lots of dishes and things. It provided me with a full jug of water for the week, which was great. And here was a twin-size bed with an extra pillow that I picked up. Work desk that I used a lot this week to get some work done. TV, really good internet, like top tier, super fast, both upload and download. And there was also a dining room little table here with a couple chairs. So this door here slides open, and there was a full bathroom in here. So just to slide that across there real quick. Nice full walk-in shower, sink, storage, toilet, all the usual stuff there. Lots of storage space there for clothes and things for the week as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend if you need a place to stay in La Paz. This place was awesome. I was here for a week and I believe it worked out to 300 pesos per day. So 2,100 for the week, which was like 130 I think $120 or $125 Canadian. I'll put that on the screen here anyway. And yeah, highly recommend it. It was very quiet, private space, no issues at all. So great spot. Well, that'll do it from La Paz. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe. Maybe leave a like below or a comment to let me know that you were here. If you want to support me further, there's a couple links in the description below that you can do that with, or a link to my new Spreadshirt store where you can buy t-shirts, mugs, those sorts of things. And remember, life is short. Wander. I'll see you next time from the mainland of Mexico.